My girlfriend texted, "I lent your car to my friend, but she says it got stolen." I replied, "No problem. I'll handle it." 2 days later, the police found it parked outside her friend's boyfriend's house. But when they opened the trunk, they didn't just find my car, they found something that made the news. I'm Marcus, 29, software developer living in Portland. I've been with Sarah for 3 years. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party back in 2022, hit it off immediately over our shared love of terrible action movies and Thai food, and moved in together after about 18 months. Everything seemed perfect until last Tuesday when my entire world got flipped upside down. I was in the middle of a team meeting, discussing sprint planning with my colleagues, when my phone buzzed on the conference table. Sarah's text, "Hey babe, I lent your Accord to Jessica. She needed to run some errands, and her car's in the shop. Hope that's okay?" I stared at the screen, trying to process what I'd just read. Jessica was Sarah's friend from college, someone I'd met maybe 4 or 5 times total at various gatherings. She seemed nice enough, a bit scattered and flaky, but we weren't close, and Sarah knew I was particular about my car. It wasn't anything fancy or expensive, just a 2019 Honda Accord in silver, but it was mine. I'd saved up for it, paid it off early, kept it immaculate with regular maintenance and weekly washes. I texted back, trying to keep my frustration in check. Would have appreciated a heads up first, but okay. When's she bringing it back? 3 hours passed. My meeting ended. I grabbed lunch from the cafeteria, responded to some emails, and then another text from Sarah came through. "So, Jessica called. The car got stolen. She parked it outside Target on Riverside, and when she came back out like 20 minutes later, it was gone. She already filed a police report. I'm so sorry, babe." My stomach dropped like I'd just gone over the peak of a roller coaster. I immediately called her, not even caring that I was standing in the middle of the office. "Sarah? What the hell happened?" I know, I should have asked you first. But Jessica was desperate, and you were in meetings all morning, and I thought, where exactly did this happen?" "The Target on Riverside Drive, near the mall. She was only inside for like 20 minutes, she swears. When she came back, the car was just gone." "And she filed a report already?" "Yeah, she's at the police station right now giving her statement. They said they'll call you to confirm everything since it's registered in your name." I took a deep breath, trying to calm the rising panic. "Okay, I'll handle it, we'll talk about this when I get home." "You're not mad at me?" "We'll talk later, Sarah." I wasn't mad exactly. I was confused, frustrated, and something else I couldn't quite name. The whole situation felt off, like when you smell smoke but can't see the fire. Jessica had always seemed flaky, showing up late to things, forgetting plans, that sort of thing. But this was extreme even for her. The police called me around 6 p.m. just as I was packing up my desk. Officer Williams, Auto Theft Division. I gave him all the information he needed, VIN number, license plate, detailed description, where it was supposedly stolen from. He sounded bored, like this was his 50th stolen car report that day, his voice flat and monotone. He told me they'd keep an eye out, that these things sometimes turned up in a few days, and that my insurance company would need the report number. That night, Sarah was incredibly apologetic. She made my favorite dinner, chicken parmesan with garlic bread, set the table with candles, kept saying she'd pay for whatever deductible the insurance required, that Jessica felt absolutely terrible about the whole thing. I told her it wasn't necessarily her fault, but I was frustrated she'd lent out my car without even sending me a quick text first. We'd shared an apartment for over a year. That kind of decision should have been discussed. She promised, tears in her eyes, that it would never happen again. I wanted to believe her. I really did. 2 days later, Thursday afternoon around 3 p.m., I got a call from a different officer while I was debugging some code at work. "Mr. Bennett? This is Detective Rodriguez with the Auto Theft Division. We found your vehicle." Relief flooded through me. "Oh, thank God. That's great news. Where was it? Parked on a residential street in the Oakwood neighborhood, outside 2847 Maple Drive. Does that address mean anything to you? No, should it? There was a pause, the kind of pause that makes your heart start racing. The homeowner is a Derek Chen. Does that name ring a bell? My blood went cold. Derek Chen, Sarah's ex-boyfriend from college, the guy she dated for 2 years before we met, the relationship that had apparently ended badly, but amicably enough. She'd mentioned him maybe twice in passing over our 3 years together, always insisting they had zero contact anymore, that he'd moved on, and so had she. Yeah, I said slowly, my mouth suddenly dry. I know who that is. Well, Mr. Bennett, we need you to come down to the station. There's a complication with your vehicle. What kind of complication? It's better if we discuss this in person. Can you come in this afternoon? I left work immediately, telling my boss I had a family emergency. The detective met me in a small, sterile interview room that smelled like old coffee and cleaning solution. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. Mr. Bennett, when we located your vehicle, we ran the plates and confirmed it matched your report. Standard procedure is to check the vehicle for any signs of tampering, damage, or evidence related to why it might have been taken. When we opened the trunk, he slid a photo across the metal table. My trunk was full. Not with random junk or personal items, with evidence. Opened packages with shipping labels still attached, a MacBook Pro still in its box, 2 iPads with the Apple Store stickers intact, expensive jewelry that glinted under the camera flash, a designer handbag, and even a stack of credit cards held together with a rubber band. Everything looked new, expensive, and definitely not mine. What the hell is this? That's exactly what we're trying to determine. The items in your trunk match descriptions from 6 different theft reports filed over the past 3 weeks. Residential burglaries in the West Hills neighborhood, package thefts from apartment complexes, and a smash and grab at an electronics store on 82nd Avenue. I couldn't breathe. The room felt like it was closing in. You think I stole this stuff? We don't think anything yet, Mr. Bennett. But we need to understand how approximately $15,000 worth of stolen merchandise ended up in your vehicle. You reported it stolen 2 days ago, correct? Yes, exactly 2 days ago, Tuesday afternoon. My girlfriend Sarah lent it to her friend Jessica Morrison. Jessica said it was stolen from a Target parking lot while she was shopping. The detective wrote that down in his notebook, his pen scratching across the paper. And you had no knowledge of the items in your trunk before today? Absolutely none. I haven't even opened my trunk in over a week, maybe longer. I keep my gym bag in the back seat, and I hadn't needed to use the trunk for anything. I work from home twice a week, and when I go to the office, I just grab my laptop bag. He studied me for a long moment, his dark eyes searching my face for any sign of deception. Okay. We'll need to verify your alibi for the dates and times of these thefts, and we'll need to speak with both Jessica Morrison and your girlfriend. Can you provide contact information for both? I gave him everything he needed, my hands shaking as I typed the numbers into his phone. They let me go after taking my detailed statement, but I couldn't drive my car. It was being held as evidence now, part of an active criminal investigation. I called an Uber home, sitting in the back seat in stunned silence while my mind raced through possibilities. This wasn't random. Someone had deliberately used my car to commit multiple crimes and then conveniently parked it at Derek's house. But why? Was it Derek? Was Jessica involved? And the question that made my stomach churn. Did Sarah know anything about this? Sarah was home when I walked in around 7 p.m. She was sitting on the couch with her laptop, probably working on one of her graphic design projects. She looked up with a bright smile. Hey, babe. Did they find your car? I've been checking my phone all day. Yeah, they found it at Derek's house. Her smile vanished instantly, replaced by confusion. What? What do you mean, Derek's house? Your ex-boyfriend, Derek Chen. My car was parked outside his house on Maple Drive, and when the cops opened the trunk, it was full of stolen goods. Thousands of dollars worth of electronics, jewelry, credit cards, evidence from at least 6 different crimes. She stood up so fast, her laptop nearly fell off her lap. That's insane. Why would Derek? I don't understand. How would your car even? That's what I'm trying to figure out, Sarah. When's the last time you talked to Derek? I haven't talked to him in years, Marcus. Not since before we met. You know that. Do I? Because right now I don't know what I know anymore. Her face hardened, defensive. What are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm asking direct, simple questions because my car was found at your ex-boyfriend's house full of stolen merchandise exactly 2 days after you lent it to your friend without asking me first. Jessica wouldn't be involved in something like that. Does Jessica know Derek? Sarah went completely quiet, her face draining of color. Sarah, answer the question. They dated briefly. After Derek and I broke up, it was just for a few months, nothing serious. The room tilted. I sat down hard on the armchair. And you didn't think to mention that little detail when you handed my car keys to your ex-boyfriend's ex-girlfriend? It was so long ago, Marcus. Like 5 or 6 years. I didn't think it mattered. It matters now. It matters a whole hell of a lot now. Don't yell at me. I didn't do anything wrong. You lent my car to someone without asking, and that someone gave it to a criminal who used it to commit burglaries. How is that not doing anything wrong? We argued for another hour before I finally retreated to the guest room, too angry and confused to even look at her. Update 1. The police called Jessica in for questioning the next day, Friday morning. I didn't hear the details directly from her, but Detective Rodriguez called me that evening around 6 p.m. with an update that made everything so much worse. Mr. Bennett, Jessica Morrison came in this morning. After about 2 hours of questioning, she admitted to lying about the theft from Target. She says she lent the car to Derek Chen, claims she didn't know what he was using it for, that he told her he needed to move some furniture and his truck was broken down. Did Derek confess to anything? He lawyered up immediately when we brought him in, wouldn't say a word without his attorney present, but we executed a search warrant on his residence this afternoon, found more stolen property in his garage, including several items that match the inventory from your trunk. We're building a solid case against him. So Jessica was in on it? She knew what he was doing? We're still investigating the full extent of her involvement and knowledge. Her story is that Derek asked to borrow a car for moving furniture, and she offered yours since she had access to the keys through Sarah. She claims she had absolutely no knowledge of the thefts or what he was really doing. That's awfully convenient. It's a very common defense, Mr. Bennett. The DA will decide whether to charge her as an accessory to the crimes or offer her immunity in exchange for testimony against Derek. These decisions depend on what we uncover about her actual knowledge and involvement. I hung up and immediately went to find Sarah. She was in the kitchen making tea, her movements slow and tired. She'd clearly been crying. Jessica lent my car to Derek. She admitted it to the police today. Sarah's face went pale, the mug slipping slightly in her hand. She what? Your friend, who you gave my keys to without asking, gave my car to your ex-boyfriend so he could drive around committing burglaries. And now I'm potentially implicated in multiple felonies. Do you understand how serious this is? Marcus, I had no idea any of this. How often do you actually talk to Jessica? I don't know, maybe once a week. We text more than we call. And in all those conversations, she never mentioned Derek? Never mentioned they were in contact again or seeing each other? Sarah's eyes welled up with tears. No, she never said anything about him. I swear. Did you know they were seeing each other again? She hesitated. That single moment of hesitation told me everything I needed to know. Sarah, tell me the truth. Okay, yes. Jessica mentioned a few weeks ago, maybe a month, that she'd run into Derek at a coffee shop downtown and they'd talked for a while. But she made it sound casual, like a one-time catch-up thing between old acquaintances. She didn't say they were dating or anything serious. And you didn't think to tell me this? You didn't think I'd want to know that your friend was reconnecting with your ex? Why would I tell you? It's not my business who my friends see or talk to. It's their private life. It became your business the second you gave her access to my property. It became my business when my car ended up being used in crimes. We didn't speak the rest of the night. The silence in our apartment was suffocating. I slept in the guest room again, staring at the ceiling until almost 3 a.m., my mind spinning through every conversation, every interaction, trying to figure out if I'd missed warning signs. Update 2. Over the weekend, the story broke in the local news. Saturday morning, there it was. Serial burglar arrested after stolen goods found in vehicle. They didn't name me specifically, thank God, but they mentioned the car had been borrowed from an unsuspecting party who had no knowledge of the crimes. My phone absolutely blew up with texts from friends and coworkers asking if it was my car they were talking about. I ignored most of them. What was I supposed to say? Monday morning, just as I was making coffee and trying to mentally prepare for another awkward day of working from home with Sarah in the apartment, Jessica called me. I stared at her name on my screen for 3 rings before answering. Marcus, I'm so sorry. I need you to understand that I didn't know what Derek was doing. You have to believe me. Why should I believe a single word you say, Jessica? You lied to the police. You lied to Sarah. You took my car without permission and gave it to a criminal. I didn't know he was doing that. He told me he was helping a friend move some furniture out of a storage unit. He said his truck had transmission problems and he just needed something for a few hours. When Sarah mentioned you'd said I could borrow your car, I never said you could borrow my car. Sarah made that decision on her own. Okay, when Sarah said I could borrow it, I thought one more person using it wouldn't hurt. I was trying to help Derek out. I didn't think. That's the problem, Jessica. You didn't think. None of you thought about consequences or asking permission or basic respect for other people's property. I know. You're right. I'm sorry. How long have you and Derek been back together? Silence on the other end. Just the sound of her breathing. Jessica. About 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. But we were keeping it quiet because we knew Sarah wouldn't approve. Because he's her ex-boyfriend. Yeah. And their breakup was messy. We just didn't want drama, so we kept it between us. And you thought the solution was to lie to everyone and involve my car in whatever scheme he had going. I didn't know about any scheme. I'm telling you the truth, Marcus. You know what? I don't care anymore. I hung up and blocked her number immediately. Update 3. Detective Rodriguez called again, Tuesday afternoon. I was in the middle of a video call, but I excused myself immediately when I saw his number. Mr. Bennett, wanted to give you an update. We've formally charged Derek Chen with 6 counts of burglary, multiple counts of theft, possession of stolen property, and trafficking in stolen goods. The DA is going after him hard. What about Jessica? Jessica Morrison has agreed to cooperate fully and testify against Derek in exchange for reduced charges. She'll plead guilty to misdemeanor accessory after the fact and receive probation, probably community service. No jail time. So she basically gets away with it. She's cooperating, and that counts for something in the eyes of the district attorney. Without her testimony, proving Derek's intent and establishing the timeline becomes much more difficult. It's not ideal, but it's how the system works. What about me? Am I completely clear? Completely and totally clear. Your alibi checked out perfectly for all the theft dates and times. You were either at work with multiple witnesses or at home with verifiable computer activity. There's absolutely no evidence you had any knowledge or involvement in these crimes. You're a victim here, Mr. Bennett. Your vehicle was used without your knowledge or consent. Great. Wonderful. I feel so much better. I didn't feel like a victim. I felt like an idiot for trusting the wrong people. Sarah and I had the big conversation that night. I told her I couldn't trust her judgment anymore, that lending my car without permission was bad enough, but the complete lack of awareness about who she was lending it to and who her friend was secretly involved with showed a level of carelessness and poor judgment I couldn't overlook. How could I build a future with someone who didn't think through basic consequences? She cried. She apologized over and over. She said she'd do anything to make it right, that she'd go to counseling, that she'd cut Jessica out of her life completely. But some things can't be fixed with apologies and promises. Trust, once broken this badly, doesn't just heal. Final update: it's been 8 weeks since everything happened. Derek took a plea deal, 3 years in state prison, restitution to the victims. His lawyer apparently advised him that going to trial would result in much more time. Jessica got 2 years probation and 200 hours of community service. She moved to Arizona to live with family, according to what Sarah told me. I wouldn't know personally. I blocked her number and all her social media. Sarah and I broke up in early September, about 3 weeks after the car incident. It wasn't explosive or dramatic like you see in movies. We just sat down one quiet evening and admitted what we both knew. The trust was gone. I couldn't look at her without remembering how her poor judgment had nearly destroyed my life. She moved out 2 weeks later, staying with her sister until she found her own place. We haven't spoken since except for one brief text exchange about splitting up the utility bills and who would keep the coffee maker. I got my car back last month after it was finally released from evidence. I paid for professional detailing twice to get rid of the feeling that it had been part of something dirty and criminal. I still drive it every day, but sometimes I look at the trunk when I'm loading groceries and think about how quickly your entire life can spiral out of control because of other people's decisions and lies. The weird part? I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just tired. Tired of people who don't think about consequences. Tired of trusting people who don't deserve it. Tired of cleaning up messes I didn't create. Tired of being collateral damage in other people's drama. But at least I know now, never lend your car to anyone, even if the person you love vouches for them. Some lessons cost you a relationship, nearly a criminal record, and a whole lot of sleep. Edit 1. A few people in the comments asked if I sued Jessica or Derek for damages. My insurance covered the detailing costs, and I didn't have any other significant financial losses. My lawyer said I could potentially pursue civil damages for emotional distress, but honestly, I just wanted to move on with my life and forget this whole nightmare. Edit 2. For those asking about Sarah, no, I don't think she was directly involved in the thefts or had any knowledge of what Derek was doing. I genuinely believe she was just oblivious and didn't think through the consequences, but oblivious can be just as damaging as malicious when it affects your life this badly. Edit 3. Yes, I changed my locks after Sarah moved out, and yes, I got my spare key back from her. No, I'm not dating anyone right now. I'm focusing on myself, my career, and rebuilding my ability to trust people. Therapy has actually been helpful.